I'm sick and tired of what they're doing to Charlie Kirk in the aftermath of his assassination. And the talking points that are now circulating about him on the left are vile and, unfortunately, viral. They're everywhere, from the New York Times to the Guardian and beyond. There's a narrative emerging about him, and it must be countered. The truth must be spoken and made plain. And I hope both fans of this show and critics of Charlie's will do themselves the favor of listening to what I have to say. The Turning Point Revolution is in full swing right now. This past Tuesday at Utah State, students proved they will not bow to terrorism, showing up to hear a collection of conservatives speak in the same venue Charlie was supposed to. Some 6,000 people were there, showing the world that the Charlie Kirk effect is real and it's formidable. By the way, if you would like to send your own message that we will not be silenced by the radical left, come see us on our live tour. You can get the tickets at megynkelly.com. But it is that very force of Charlie's growing power that explains why he is now coming under withering attack. First of all, this is so inappropriate. He is barely in his grave, killed by someone who said he was too hateful to live. And what does the left do? Try to prove the shooter's point. It's disgusting. And it's no different than discussing whether insurance companies are bad immediately after the United Healthcare CEO was shot dead by an unhappy activist. Maybe let's wait until, say, the headstone has been put up before we start debating the merits of the assassin's argument. The most disgusting among the chattering class last week was easily the New York Times contributor Nikole Hannah-Jones, along with author Ta-Nehisi Coates, both of whom have made a fortune by telling America how racist it is and always will be. We addressed the Coates attack on Charlie last week in episode 1160. Today we get to Nikole Hannah-Jones. See, neither Coates nor Jones can afford to have Charlie's pro-America, colorblind, anti-woke legacy grow. It would kill what's left of their gravy train. Too many kids are creating turning point chapters, too many Americans showing up at vigils, too many young black men circulating videos like these on X.
I think I'm at a point in life where I can officially say that I'm conservative. Growing up, especially black, all you do is just vote blue, vote Democratic. But my beliefs, my morals, it all aligns with being conservative. The older I've gotten and what I've seen, what they push in their agendas, and they literally just mock the Bible.
Charlie Kirk got shot in the fucking neck. That was the last bastion. I can't be a liberal no fucking more. You see the fucking comments? I hope the gun is okay. The same fucking people asking for moral decency. I cannot in good faith align myself with you guys anymore.
We not only lost one of the greatest political activists in American history, but we lost one of the greatest champions for Christ that we've seen in politics.
This man's message was pure. It was not a message of hate. It was a message of unity.
Now, I'll be the first to admit I didn't agree with every view he held. But there is one thing I cannot deny. Charlie was unashamed of his belief in Jesus Christ. And in the age where faith is often mocked or silenced, he stood boldly and proclaimed the name above every name. And for that, I honor him.
So, Nikole Hannah-Jones pulls a bunch of Charlie quotes removed from their context or any wider look at who Charlie really was to paint him as a racist. She actually calls him a white supremacist in this piece. We shouldn't be surprised Jones's bread and butter has been race lies in the New York Times. This is the same paper that aided and abetted her earlier race hoax called the 1619 Project, the fiction that America was really born on the date the first African slaves arrived here, an event Jones posits is America's North Star. Now, Jones admits her purpose in writing about Charlie is that his opinions have been widely embraced, and she's downright alarmed about it. Writing, quote, "It is clear that Kirk's ideas are no longer considered on the extremist periphery, but are embraced by Republican leadership." She says this demonstrates that espousing open and explicit bigotry no longer relegates one to the fringe. So Charlie was fringe, in her view, part of the lamentable extremist periphery. But now he's gone mainstream. And she is terrified of that, which she should be, because what that means is her grift is ending. Her piece is framed around a man named Dominic Durant and his 11-year-old daughter in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The daughter, we are told, allegedly came home teary-eyed after Charlie was killed. Dad Dominic was aghast, worried she would look up Charlie's YouTube feed and, quote, come across many ugly assertions, in particular about Black Americans. And then what happened? Dominic called Nikole Hannah-Jones to put his thoughts in the New York Times? Who is this Dominic? She never tells us. Is he related to Miss Jones? Is he a friend she knows from DEI circles? Does Dominic have an axe to grind here? Did the Times bother checking? We don't know. But what, pray tell, is allegedly bothering this man? Ms. Jones first zeroes in on this Charlie Kirk comment. Quote, Kirk had claimed that 4 prominent and successful Black women who all went to Ivy League universities, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, former First Lady Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, and former Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas, quote, did not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously and had to go steal a white person's slot. Is that what Charlie said? Roll the tape.
If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive.
Well, it turns out Charlie was making a point here, not about his beliefs about Black women, but about the admission by these Black women about their own capabilities. He was reacting to their disclosure that they could not get into their Ivy League schools based on their own brain power, that standards had to be lowered for them, which was done through affirmative action, a program that admits otherwise unqualified minority candidates to a school that would have rejected them. It's true, Charlie was not surprised. They were affirmative action students. None of us is. Ketanji Brown Jackson, at her Supreme Court confirmation hearing, could not even answer the question, what is a woman, explaining, I'm not a biologist. It was only last year that Sheila Jackson Lee was telling children the moon is a planet and that it's made of gases. Okay, not a planet, and it's made mostly of rock and metals. Charlie then says these women stole a white person's spot, which Jones does not appreciate. Well, that's true too. I mean, technically it was either a white person's slot or an Asian person's, the two groups who lose spots to Black and brown people advancing on affirmative action. This is not a figment of Charlie's imagination. There's a whole Supreme Court case about it, decided in 2023, brought by Asian and white students. The High Court finally banned the practice as discriminatory. You'd think Jones, a college professor, might have heard about it.